Joining me now, three of the best political analysts, Keith Richburg, New York Bureau Chief, Washington Post, CNN contributor, syndicated columnist Miguel Perez, also professor of journalism at Lehman College here in New York, and James Freeman of OpinionJournal.com. Good to have you all here. Let's just turn to the transition issues. John Podesta, the co-chairman, Keith suggesting that executive orders will be forthcoming to stop the ban, lifting the ban on offshore drilling. Wouldn't this be a flip-flop on the part of Barack Obama?
Well, I think they were specifically talking about lifting a ban on drilling that was just ordered in an area of Utah that environmentalists say is a pretty sensitive area. I think, but it's part of what Obama wants to do, which is make offshore drilling part of an entire energy strategy. Don't forget, McCain during the campaign just said, drill, baby, drill. And Obama said, look, I'm not opposed to drilling, but I don't want to just drill. We have to have an entire energy approach that's comprehensive, solar, nuclear, wind energy, all part of a plan. Let's not just go into drilling.
All right, Miguel, have we heard this comprehensive thing before?
Yeah, we have. I think the problem is that if it may flip around on the president, on the president-elect. He is talking about stem cell research as one of the things that he may want to flip on President Bush. Executive orders for this, that, and the other. He has to pick his fights. He cannot be petty. If he's going to start by giving us the wrong signal about drilling, if he's going to start by talking about something that can wait 2 or 3 weeks, he needs to start with the things that are really important to the American people right now, which is the economy and the war.
Yeah, and the most difficult issues of all.
Of course.
James, your thoughts?
Well, I think if you paid attention during the campaign, both candidates
I did intermittently.
If we were all paying attention, it was pretty clear they were for cap and trade, and I think people kind of dialed in late to the idea that this means less oil, less gas, less coal, and Sarah Palin was obviously the drill, baby, drill part of the ticket, but John McCain and Barack Obama were saying they're going to make energy more expensive, so it's not really unexpected.
But can I just add, too, I think, the base, the people who got him there, the 52%, 53% who voted for him, they expect change. And they expect him to come in right away from the first day and do things, not wait for Congress. Health care plan, energy plan. A lot of this stuff is going to take months to get through Congress. They want to see things right away.
You're optimistic, aren't you?
Months, if years. They want to see things right away. Stem cell research, abortion, closing Guantanamo. These are things you can do first week.
You mentioned the economy, and that is one of the areas that's going to be the most difficult and most intractable. It was interesting as we watched our reporting over the course of this campaign, the easy way in which both Senator Obama and Senator McCain talked about creating jobs, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. It's all but impossible for a president to bring to bear the creation, real change when it comes to job creation, when it comes to changing the direction of an economy, isn't it, Miguel?
Absolutely. And the thing is that, look, the president needs to have some kind of, go back to the same word, comprehensive plan. We need a comprehensive economic, financial crisis plan. We cannot come up with Band-Aids every 5 minutes. And unfortunately, we had $700 billion. We were told that those $700 billion were going to solve most of our problems. And now we are here that it's just a small part of many other bailouts that may come along the road. And when does it end? I mean, what is the total number? We, the American people, need to know that.
And you just hope that whatever the plan is, that it doesn't do more harm than good. I think a problem for Obama is that on the campaign, he seemed to be under the impression that we had come through a period of deregulation. As your viewers know, going back to 2000, 2002, when the feds were landing on Arthur Andersen and every other company in that period, this was a period after Enron of very heavy regulation. We see it in the financial market. So I think it's a danger if the premise is that we've had light regulation and now we need heavy.
Well, you wouldn't be suggesting that that the investment banks, Wall Street, was somehow honestly regulated over that period of time in the derivatives market.
I am. I'm suggesting that it was poorly regulated, not lightly regulated.
Well, okay, well, we could talk about poorly regulated, we could talk about lightly regulated, but the fact is that when every hedge fund in this country moving hundreds of billions of dollars without regulation or oversight, when the derivative market is not even understood by the agencies that would, well, at least putatively regulate it. That is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Fed. I can't see how you could say they weren't.
Well,
you know, I mean,
the problem for politicians who want to blame light regulation is that they're, and I know I'm not talking about you, but I'm saying that the search continues for the evidence that derivatives are causing this problem. I think the more you look at it, what you realize is housing is what has created this problem, and that is a market with very heavy government regulation and intervention, basically driving capital into the housing market.
Keith, before we get into an issue of the number I was going to give you, by the way, was 1 to 30, which is looking at the leverage ratio.
Right.
They were looking at whether it was Lehman Brothers, whether we're talking about Bear Stearns, which is a massive, absurd level.
Right.
And by the way, a conservative estimate, because that does not take into consideration the derivative.
It seems.
But before we get into this arcane nonsense, which is nonsense now because we're paying a hell of a price for it.
Expensive nonsense.
None of these actions that have been taken so far resolves the situation for 4 million homeowners facing foreclosure, just about 2 million who've gone through foreclosure, and 9 million Americans who are underwater in their homes, arguably 15 million American homes underwater. Where is the relief? I mean, we're throwing trillions of dollars around here, and the American taxpayer is not a beneficiary.
Well, that's right. The root of the problem is the housing crisis, as you said. But I think they really are at a loss as to kind of what to do. The theory is prop up the overall economy first, get the stock market moving again, get out of the recession, and then housing prices will gradually creep back up.
You would think that if that was the real problem, then we would tackle that real problem first, and we would help the American homeowners who are losing their homes right now.
Well, I don't think any solution is going to work without growth. We've got to get the economy growing. We've gone months, the longest period since the 70s, without an initial public offering in the United States, both tax and regulatory. We have got to give incentives to entrepreneurs to create and grow, and that's what's going to get us out of this mess and allow people to stay in their homes.
We're going to be right back with our panel coming up the top of the hour. Campbell Brown, no bias, no bull, no Campbell either. John Roberts sitting in. John?
we do have me. Hey, thanks, Lou. In just a few minutes, a no bull look at the Obamas' return to Washington today. The latest readouts from their visit to the White House, plus a look at the Bush executive orders that Obama can undo right away, and a question as to whether he will. In the PDB, our political daily briefing, Republicans who already appear to be coming down with 2012 fever, and a warning from a Southern governor as to when they should throw their hats into the ring. The contenders may include Sarah Palin. She, by the way, is venting to our Gary Tuchman about what went wrong in this year's campaign. Plus, Michelle Obama goes school shopping, among other things, while she's in Washington. Lou will have it all for you coming up at the top of the hour.
Now, the house shopping is taken care of on November 4th, wasn't it?
That's the one good thing about winning the presidency. You don't have to look for real estate.
Thank you, John. Look forward to it. John Roberts. We'll be back with more with our panel, and we'll have your thoughts as well. Stay with us. We're coming right back.
What's the best value in arthritis pain relievers? Aleve. It's so strong it can stop arthritis pain all day with just 2 pills. That would take twice as many Advil or 4 times as many Tylenol. 2 pills, all-day relief. That's value. That's Aleve.
We have only to look into each other's eyes to see the story of our planet. A few simple truths. The way hydrogen bonds with oxygen, the cadence and order of things, have lived there from the beginning. But if we change perspective and consider the notion of adding the human element to the periodic table of the elements, we learn the secret to a better life, the story of a planet where chemistry embraces humanity.
That sounds great. Bundle me up.
Think you'll save money by bundling your TV, high-speed internet, and phone? Think again. Look what happens when you bundle. You end up paying more, and they make a bundle. Don't get bundled. Get Vonage, the digital phone service with a price that starts low and stays low. Only $24.99 a month. Get Vonage and get unlimited local and long-distance calling anywhere in the U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico. And free calling to landlines in 5 European countries.
No hidden fees, no sticker shock when you get your bill each month.
I'm saving money by just having the phone line through them versus bundling.
Get more from your existing high-speed internet. Get Vonage for only $24.99 a month every month. Call or click now, and for a limited time, the first month is free. Don't fall for the bundle. Get Vonage and start saving today.
Call 1-877-4VONAGE or go online today.
Let's go ride a couple of dolphins. Now you can enjoy a dolphin play with every stay. An unforgettable opportunity to meet and greet the dolphins of Atlantis. Enjoy 2 dolphin experiences included with your special room rate, but only for a limited time. Call 1-800-ATLANTIS now for a dolphin play with every stay. 3 nights from only $2.99. Atlantis.
There is a moment when history lives in the present, when we can watch it unfold and take our place in it. Thank you for sharing this moment with us.
The search for truth can take you all over the world.
There's been a lot of speculation about where the Russian troops are. Well, here they are.
There is no map, but you can find a guide here.
It is an incredible story, and it is breaking as we speak.
We're going out on a joint patrol now.
So the truth may be elusive, but the search is always an adventure. Let's go.
We begin our journey here in the forests of Central Africa.
We're back with Keith Richburg, Miguel Perez, and James Freeman. Miguel, the meeting today between the president-elect and President Bush, your thoughts?
Historic. Everything Obama does nowadays is historic. I mean, look at the fact that he's visiting a White House that was built by slaves. That is so
you know what I
tremendous.
Today was the first day he'd been in the Oval Office. I had no idea of that. Yeah. That's quite a way to get introduced to you.
But let me tell you something else, Lou. I was born in Cuba. The only other, this is so strange to me, this smooth transition of power. The only other transition of power I've seen is a revolution in 1959. Right. So to me, this is remarkable. But it's also strange to see, after everything Obama has said about George Bush during the last couple of years, for these guys to get together now and shake hands and say, hey, fine, we're going to put all this behind us because the country is first. It's really, I'm proud to be an American when I see that.
We all are. And the one thing I hesitate here is, we've seen how, whether you like him or dislike him, George W. Bush has aged tremendously over the course of his presidency. I believe Barack Obama has aged tremendously since the beginning of this year.
I think that's right. Actually, you've kind of seen him age a bit more, and you know that his victory speech in Chicago, facing all those fans. It didn't have the kind of ringing rah-rah victory speech.
Fans or voters?
Voters, fans. It's a movement. That's a movement.
Well, you know what? Bill Snyder called it a movement early on in the campaign, in the primary campaign. I had to apologize to him. I argued with him about that months and months ago. Sure. He's right. You're right. No, but it's a movement. 200,000 people showing up at Grant Park, and that's unprecedented for this kind of thing. But then listen to his speech. It wasn't a rousing "we did it." It was almost kind of toning it down. You could see the seriousness. Now we got to do it.
Now we got to do it. And but just going back to that White House meeting, that's one of my favorite events after these elections, is watching that, because no other country has that kind of raucous, shouting match of a campaign, and then you see the two sides, shaking hands. We saw it with Clinton, with George H.W. Bush.
We've seen it throughout our history.
Yeah, nasty campaign. You saw it again when Clinton handed it over to George Bush Jr.
But now, as they say, that the shouting is done and the voting is ended, what is left is a mess. $2 trillion, a Federal Reserve that refuses to tell people who the recipients of those loans are. I mean, what is going on? This Fed is out of control. This government is out of control.
It seems kind of bizarre, doesn't it, in a free society, having this group?
This is not the country I signed up for or was born into, to tell you the truth.
I think it's a good question. Where does the money go? I mean, you have to balance that, obviously, especially with banks. There's a need for some discretion. We saw Senator Schumer earlier this year talking about a bank in trouble, and it subsequently failed. So you don't want politicians to cause bank runs. But at the same time, I think that the essential question of not just where does the money go.
Our government puts $2 trillion out, James.
You want to know. You deserve to know.
I want to know where it is. The American people deserve. This isn't Russia. This isn't China. This is America, and these idiots in Washington, D.C. better figure it out. And I'm talking about Ben Bernanke, Hank Paulson, and by God, if Barney Frank, Christopher Dodd, and these folks can't get on this, I think they'll all be out of office. They should be.
And it's not just where the money's going, it's why. Because going back to the beginning of the serial bailouts in March with Bear Stearns, we were given a basic explanation of systemic risk, undefined. You'd like to know who are the creditors to Bear that they were worried about? Who are the trading counterparties?
One of the most hollow charges in this entire campaign, as both Barack Obama and John McCain signed up for the $700 billion rescue plan with $150 billion pork as incentive, added incentive, was for John McCain to refer to Barack Obama as a socialist. I mean, this is insane.
Ugh. That was only sillier than lipstick on a pig. But you know, the thing is, though, I think the problem is we don't know the depths of this economic crisis. We still don't know. We don't know what banks are bad. We don't know who's got bad assets on their books. It's all kind of slowly trickling out.
Ubiquitous. How's that?
It's ubiquitous. I mean, just look at AIG. We thought it was going to cost one thing. Suddenly, it's $150 billion. We don't know.
Suddenly, it's moved up from originally 85 to 123 to now 150 plus. We'll see. Miguel, thank you very much. Keith, thank you very much. James, appreciate you being here. Well, let's go to the poll.